One championship featherweight king, Martin Nguyen. What's going on, man? It's good to get you back on here. It's been a minute.
Definitely been a minute, man. It's good to be back and chatting to you, man. What's been happening with you?
Hey, man. Same as everybody else. Hold up in the bunker.
The fort, huh? Holding down the.
Yeah, in the woods. Let's get right into it. You went through two training camps, no fight. Everything's out of your hands. You can't control it. Was it more frustrating for you, or was it more disappointing for you when everything got canceled?
Yeah, it is disappointing, but you know what? Always, as I said, man, I always take the positive out of it, and like just rethink the whole camp of what happened, and always think that I got better. Each time, I'm not getting beat up as much in training camps, so um, always take the positive out of it, man.
So, what were some of the things that you got to work on in those two camps? Because there must have been a lot of things you add to your arsenal, right? Throughout those camps with the coaches and the training partners that you have down in Florida. Talk about some of the things that you've been doing with them.
Yeah, definitely. As you know, we train with Henry Hoof. My kickboxing has been sharpened up dramatically. Worked a lot on my wrestling because at the start, obviously, I thought I'll be fighting Gary Tonin. So we worked a lot on our wrestling and submission defense and just takedown defense in general. And then, yeah, once the fight changed up from there, we picked up a lot of strength work and strength and conditioning work, agility, speed, explosiveness. And yeah, just utilize all of that with the kickboxing that Henry produces. Man, it's just a complete different fighter. Open my eyes up to different angles and different types of fighting and all that type of stuff. Yeah.
You got stronger. You're already jacked before you even went to Florida.
Yeah, so I did like a mini pre-camp, like a 3 week camp, so I didn't wasn't so out of shape when I went there. And yeah, I just felt much stronger already and already fit. Like I was already pumping out 8 rounds here, even when sparring. So I made sure that my cardio was on point and strength wise I was on point as well. So I was kind of lucky because this camp, knock on wood, I didn't have any injuries and I won't have any other injuries going into the next camp.
All right. Well, you were in Florida. You left Florida, went back to Australia, your home country. The UFC is gonna put on shows in Florida. Do you think like fighters are risking themselves by going out there and fighting? Do you think the UFC's doing something very risky right now?
Look, is that in front of a crowd?
No, no crowd.
No, it's closed doors. Yeah, look, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, all the fighters that are fighting on that card have been training for at least the last 8 weeks. So if they were going to get it, they would have got it by now. So at the end of the day, man, they're training in the same environment, same type of people. I know one thing catches my attention, but if they're clean enough and they're smart enough, they'll usually clean themselves before and after training. So look, good on them. I'm sure after this event passes through, a lot of other companies and events will start to happen. And this is just you'll see, you've just taken the first step and the first initiative to get the ball rolling. So good on them.
Yeah, it's almost like when you were a kid and everybody's afraid to do something, and then there was always that one kid. Then UFC is that one kid that's gonna try it first,
Exactly,
and then
they've done
after,
it, and now all of a sudden becomes a thing, and then after that thing happens, then it's all back to normal, man. Life will just move on. It's just a phase. It's a hard time at the moment where no one can watch live sports, and people are suffering out there because this is a full time job for people. I'm fortunate enough that I get looked after. So, um, man, if thinking back three years ago when I didn't have the title, if this had happened then, man, I would have been struggle street big time. Honestly, man, I would probably have to sell myself or nah, I'm joking, man. Like, yeah, I would have to go back to full time work again, or it's just it's a hard. People are suffering out there, man. So
yeah, I remember those days. I remember one interview you did after you won the title, and you were doing the interview from your job at your office.
yeah, man. Like after I won that second title, that 3 days later, I was back at work.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
working behind the counter and doing my thing again. Before I went into full time fighting, my job, um, in the mechanical industry was my main priority. So if I had to choose, I would have chose the job before mixed martial arts. But you know what? In a way, like I wasn't happy, and when I chose to fight full time, and it just opened up new doors, and it just made me happy. I can wake up every day knowing that I'm happy going to work. So it was a good step.
What is the communication like with you and One Championship? Because it seems like it's changing every day, the situation, and it's not just like everybody's in one country. You're in Australia and Asia. Asia has so many different countries too.
Yeah. So as of now, this minute, I know that a lot of parts in Asia, or basically the whole part of Asia, is in lockdown. So, and that's basically Australia as well. Every country is in lockdown to an extent where, um, no one can leave or come through. So, I think that gives USA a good advantage because, you know, domestically you can still fly. There's a lot of flights being cancelled, I know for a fact, but you can still fly from state to state and moves from state to state. And with UFC being obviously in America, all I got to do is just get local fighters on the show, right? They don't really have to fly anyone in. So in terms of One Championship, it's just more of the fact that it's a waiting game. Really, it is a waiting game. We got to wait until the travel ban is lifted. As soon as I know that travel ban is lifted, where I can leave Australia, then I'll be going straight back to Florida and continuing camp.
Definitely. Well, in some of the Asian countries, I know for sure in Korea, they just started having baseball games
Oh,
televised,
really?
and what's crazy about it is they're showing the Korean pro baseball on ESPN in the States because there's no sports on TV, so the people are watching it. And then in Japan, I think at the end of the month they're gonna have some MMA shows, and they've been having MMA shows here and there, but Japan, I think at the end of this month, so it looks bright. You know what I mean? And I looked on the One Championship website, and the next show is June 5th in Jakarta. Do you see yourself on that card if possibly they make that a go, like they give you the go?
Man, I'm ready, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm already like since being coming back from the US, I was 155 maximum. I was 156 over there, and that's what I fight at. Maybe at the moment I'll probably be about worst case 158 to 160. And if they tell me and they give me good enough notice, then I'm always down to fight, providing my opponent will be ready as well. So we'll go from there.
Vietnam, they legalized MMA. I heard that maybe a month ago or so. It's huge news for you because now you can go and fight for the title. You can main event. There's so much opportunity right there, possibilities. I guess like if they do have a show planned for the next couple of months, you're a lock, right? It's like you gotta be on
Man,
that thing.
I gotta really put my priorities aside and pick Vietnam. Fighting in Vietnam as a main priority. It's always been a dream of mine. I have a huge amount of fans over there. I have a huge amount of family over there as well. And you know what? Like I do have a lot of family here in Australia, but fighting in Vietnam and fighting in Australia has always been my goal since making One Championship. And now that we are semi on the borderline of it actually happening, um, I'm so excited, man. And you know what? I really want to showcase how much Vietnamese martial arts and martial artists have evolved, man. And you know what better way to do it than putting two top Vietnamese people up against each other and boasting to the world that you know we run the world, basically.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Yeah. Um, the fight that you were supposed to have last year was against Christian Lee. Of course, everybody knows the story. That fell out because of Christian taking the lightweight Grand Prix position and winning it all. You know what I mean? Which was incredible. And then you were set up for maybe mid was it mid April? You were supposed to fight.
April 17th.
Yeah, April 17th against Tan Lee. That was the rumors. It's most likely true. Now, so are you dead set on Tan Lee? Like Tan Lee's the fight, no matter where it is. We're gonna go
I,
face to
I,
face.
I initially thought Gary Turner was the fight, and I was willing to fight anyone at the end of the day, and that contract or that fight fell through, and Tunley was the next in line, and whoever won championship deem it be, I was always going to be ready no matter what and have no excuses. But yes, Tan Lee was my next bout until that obviously the whole card crashed. But to be honest, I probably won't take any other fight providing Tan Lee is healthy, and he will be my next opponent, providing he's not injured on his side.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty sure even if he's injured, he's gonna
He'll
take the
take the
fight.
100%. Man. No one realistically would deny a title fight. Like, doesn't matter whereabouts in the state of martial arts you are. Um, if someone's going to offer you a title fight, you really want to test yourself.
Mm.
You really want to push the champion and see where you're at mentally and physically in your career. And you know what, you could be at the top or you could be, a long way away, but you wouldn't know unless you take it, right? And that's the same situation as what happened with me and Marat Gafarov. I didn't know if I was world championship material or if I had what it take unless I took this fight, and I did. And obviously it didn't prevail, but I knew what I needed to do to get there. So.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's gonna be a huge opportunity for him to be able to fight for the title. And when you think about him and his style, can you break it down for me a little bit? What do you see? What challenges you see in him?
Yeah, man, props to him, man. He's worked his way up to the top. He hits hard. He moves. He's very elusive. He moves well. He's a smart fighter in general. So it's up to me while I'm in there to figure him out and execute my goals on him. So we'll see. We'll go from there.
Have you ever had any interactions with him? Have you went face to face, sized him up a little bit?
No, not really. From what I was told, he was a bit tall. So I mean, I've been fighting tall people all my life. I'm like this probably the smallest guy in this division. I have to put on muscle to make me look at least half decent. So everyone literally that I face is taller than me. So I don't really care. It's happened like that for my whole career. But no, we haven't really spoke. I know he did an interview. Kind of triggered me, but it is what it is. He's just speaking his mind. That he said something along the lines that he fights at a distance that no fighter can handle, and that if he fought me, then he would win the title guaranteed or something like that. That's just it just shows he's how naive he is. But it is what it is. He's just speaking his mind. And yeah, I just can't wait to get in there and show what I'm made of.
That does that fuel the fire a little bit more?
Definitely, man. Like as soon as I heard that interview, I was like, "Ooh, yes, bit of fire in this division." And you know what? The featherweight division, man. When we're known for like highlight reel knockouts, man, for real. We got top fighters in this division. It's like the dark horse of one championship. So I can't wait to, go up against a guy who's been on a tear and spruce up this division again.
He said them some things. Garrett Tonin before that, he was calling you out. In reality, do you feel like Garrett Tonin really deserves a title shot, or do you feel like he should beat one other guy, and in the top? Because the rankings come out now. We gotta talk about the rankings. Like, let's see this. Let's see. We got Christian
Look,
Lee at number one. Give me your thoughts on that.
yeah, I mean he deserves it. He took out numerous of fighters. He went up to lightweight. He won that title. Is he gonna make the weight? That we'll never know. He might make the weight. Is he going to feel right? We don't know. I know for a fact that he's grown 2 to 3 inches since the last time we fought. So it will be harder for him to lose the weight for a fact. And if he's going to do it healthily, who knows? But yeah, he deserves that spot, man. Taking nothing away from him. He's worked hard for it, and good on him for winning that title and winning the Grand Prix title too. Good on him.
All right. Well, number two, you got Masashima. 3, Tan Lee. 4, Yamada, and number 5, Gary Tonin sits there. Do you feel like he should fight like either maybe Masushima, Yamada next, and earn a title shot after you take on Tan Lee?
Yeah, I'm sure. That was the case because he was meant to be fighting the same night as well. I'm not sure who he was fighting, but I'm sure it was meant to be like a top ranked opponent before he fought me. So April 17th was that date. I don't know who he was fighting, but he was meant to be. But look, in terms of does he deserve it? Yeah, he deserves it. He's on a 5-fight winning streak. I had to win 5 to 6 fights before I got my rematch with Marat. Realistically, who has he versed? They're not top contenders. but there's someone on his level and he's walked through him, so he deserves to fight a top contender to fight me. But if anything, his credentials in jiu-jitsu give him the automatic title fight initiative. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm sure he really deserves it, and there's a lot of people out there that says he deserves it. But this is mixed martial arts, man. It's not jiu-jitsu. So we'll see what happens, man.
A big topic lately is Christian Lee versus Khabib. What are your thoughts on that issue of him being able to beat Khabib? A lot of people are saying this.
It's hard, man. It's hard. The odds are really stacked against him, but I love that, man. I love the fact that the odds are stacked against him. There's an underdog in this fight for a fact. And there's a lot of people obviously talking the hype of Khabib, and he deserves that hype. He's taking out, was it 30 people? He's 30-0 or 29-0. Man, that's hard. That's hard to stay that undefeated, man. And if it's someone that could do it, Christian Lee is probably one of the names. I say with a few more years, Christian Lee it'll be more of an even playing ground. But it's hard to look past Khabib, man. I've doubted him before, and he's proved me wrong. So I'm on that bandwagon now. Like, this guy is actually the real deal.
Yes, it's also Christian Lee's only 21, and he's not even close to being as the best Christian Lee we've seen. So it's hard, like you said, it is hard to say. But right now, I'm giving my opinion, man. Khabib is like at the top of the mountain.
Pinnacle, yeah. He's the pinnacle of his career right now. Christian Lee still got a while to go before he hits the peak of his career. So and I mean, he's much mature than any 21-year-old that I know. But when it comes to skill wise, there's a lot more to learn, and it's more. I think it's more mental. He's really got the skills, but it's more mentality and cage time, which will make him a better athlete in general.
And also, it seems like he's growing into his body more and more and more, which is a big difference, right?
Yeah. So the times that I fought him, he was obviously 2.5 inches to 3 inches shorter, but I don't think his mentality was right then. He just wanted to. I don't know if it is still the same now. I'm just speaking on the fact that we fought the 2 times before. It was more of a I want to hunt and kill, hunt and kill, hunt and kill, instead of playing it out, see where it goes, and capitalizing. And that's how I fight. So I'm sure in a few years or a few fights time, he'll be much more mature and much more ready to take on anyone else.
Some critics are saying that you're still the lightweight champion. You never lost the belts.
True, I never lost the belt, but it's not my division, man. I've been getting offered super fights, and these super fights are very, very intriguing, and I honestly really want to take it. But then, thinking about my health wise as well, and thinking about the fight itself, like, why should I go up 7 kilos? I didn't even walk around. Like, maximum I walk around is 72, 73 kilos, right? And that's on like a day off. Why would I go up to lightweight and give him that extra 4 kilo advantage? It's just, if anything, I want the advantage. Why should I give it to my opponents? And that doesn't justify me being a warrior or not. I just want it to be an even playing ground, right? So if I was to go up and take a super fight, then I'll take it at like 160 or 162, 63, whatever it is. So make it at least a ball game where I know I'll be closer to that weight, but I won't be on that weight, and he would have to come down to that weight and go from there. But these super fights that have been like introduced to me, man, I would just take it just for the credibility, but I want it to be an even ball game. So
can you reveal these super fights that have been offered?
I'll reveal one, man. One's Shinya Aoki. So
okay. It seems like Shinya Aoki want to fight everybody.
Yeah, man. He's really the GOAT of Asian mixed martial arts, man. He's fought all around the world. He's still fighting. He's one of the smartest fighters I know, where he just come in and just utilize what he's good at to win a fight. And that's a very smart fight. It takes the least amount of damage, unless when he's in a fight where he's in the trenches. But usually he just comes in and just utilizes his clinch work, take you down and submit you, get the double paycheck, go home, fight again in 2 months. Like that's a very smart fighter, and I see him as like one of the best fighters Asia's got. So I would love to. It'll be an honor for me to share a cage with him. So
We've been speaking for the last couple of years, and I know you that you'll fight anybody, even if you're the champion. You're like, put the contract in front of me, let me fight, let me get paid. That's your attitude, right? And then you got a guy like Henry Cejudo. He's picking his fights as the champion. Like, what do when you see that? I'm pretty sure you train with a lot of the UFC guys. You probably talk with them about it. What is your thoughts on that of him taking these fights and choosing and picking?
yeah, man. I guess everyone's really fought for the title already in that top five, whatever it is. And they've somewhat failed or came close to winning, but they haven't won. And so for Henry to pick and choose who will have the next shot, I mean, it's not right. You just fight whoever they put in front of you. But everyone has fought for the title already, so he gets to choose who will get the next shot. Or yeah, the ball's in his court. He calls himself the king. So so UFC they play around with it because it sells. If he's selling tickets, then let him do whatever he wants. Really, if he's going to perform the best picking his fighters, then let him be at his best. So because if the other guy wins, it's more of a downfall for Henry. But I'm sure he's smart. He'll put on performance of his life to maintain that title, and the UFC will get paid for whatever he does.
Right now, currently Australia, I know that they have like levels of lockdown. What level are you guys at right now?
So we've just been introduced last Friday to level one restriction, part like level one of recovering. So we're now allowed. Before we weren't allowed any visitors to the home, or if we were going to train outdoors, you train with one person only, and you have the social distancing with that. But now you're allowed to have two visitors over your home, including their siblings. So if a family was going to come over, so mum and dad, and you're allowed three kids. In terms of training outside, it's still two people with social distancing. But I know that's in New South Wales, but I know for a fact in Queensland, you can train in groups of 10 now. So it's slowly getting there. The cases are still rising, but the situation it's getting lower and lower by the day.
Man, Australia, New Zealand, it's just a crazy hotbed. You got yourself and Volkanovski and Israel Adesanya and Dan Hooker and so many guys, man. It's just like, what's going on down there? You know what I mean? Like, how you guys growing up to where you guys get to this point that you guys are the best fighters in the world from such a small pool, I feel like, of people.
I'm sure I can talk on their behalf, man. Like where we might all have similar stories, if not the same story, where we really came from nothing. We just came from a person with a dream to fight, and then from that fight turned into wanting to become a world champion or a really, really good fighter. So we really came from nothing and working our way from the bottom, from the mat, all the way to the top, and earning our spots. So we're not given or we're not hand fed or hand fed our opponents. We're just whatever fight is there, that's a paycheck that we need to get, and nobody's stealing food off my plate. I think that's the mentality that we all have. We all have mouths to feed, and we just work hard for what we deserve. And I think that's just the way we live, the Australian way or the Kiwi way. Work hard for what we want, and the hard work always pays off, man.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's like I've talked to all of you guys, and none of you guys are like jujitsu when you were a kid or wrestling or none of that. It's just like either you come from rugby or you just come from a fighting background.
Exactly, yeah, man. It's either we play on the streets till we've had enough. We played rugby until our bodies can't handle it no more, or we get sick of it, and it's just another. It's like another toy, right? You're playing with a toy for so much, and you get over it. You get a new toy, and you're like, oh, okay, I want to play with that toy now. That's how it was for me. I played with rugby league. It was my life. I was even saying to myself like I can't live without rugby, man. I love the sport so much. You know, I played it 5-6 days a week, training to playing on the streets, and then once my body was like, I'm over these injuries. I'm over just lying down and resting while everyone else is having fun. So then it went on to martial arts. Man, it could have went on to another sport, but it just went on to martial arts. Our, our lives aligned, and here we are.
All right. Well, hopefully, man, everything works out and you get back into that circle real fast. I've always appreciated the time, Martin, and good luck on everything. And hopefully your family stays safe and you stay safe.
Thank you so much.